What's up, guys? So this video is going to be a little bit different today. We're going to be looking at the Dreamcastguys video, talk about Ubisoft and how they're, going under and how they're going for sale, which is all a bunch of bull crap. This guy is known for lying, known for making stuff up, and he has no clue about anything except for PlayStation, PlayStation, PlayStation. That's all he cares about, and as long as PlayStation's doing well and everyone else is failing, he loves it. So anyways, let's watch this stupid take that he has on this, talk about games that he says are failing that are all doing really well, and Ubisoft's doing super well. Let's just get into it.
Well, boys, it's time to celebrate because Ubisoft is completely screwed. Their last couple games have utterly bombed. Their stupid business model of cramming every single game filled with microtransactions, DLC, really crappy expansions, really stretched out, terrible maps. I mean, the Ubisoft business model continues to fail because at this point, people are exhausted by it. Even at some point you did like things like Ghost Recon or Assassin's Creed, these franchises have died for the profit of Ubisoft. And
Okay, first off, Assassin's Creed is the number one. This new Valhalla Assassin's Creed is the best-selling Assassin's Creed game ever. And I just want to make it clear right now, I'm not a Ubisoft fanboy. I play everything. I don't care if it's Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Don't matter. If it's a good game, it's a good game. I just play for fun. I'm not like a hardcore gamer or like a fanboy of anything. I'm just hate when I see people that are just bashing companies for no reason just to do it because it's the cool thing to do. I think it's stupid. Ubisoft, all their games, like, well, I'll get
now
to this here in a
they're
second.
literally begging for a buyout. This is dead serious. I want to try and predict who is going to purchase Ubisoft, though, because they are in financial freefall. If somebody
They're
doesn't
not.
swoop in and scoop them
Ubisoft last year actually had a really good year.
up, there is going to be some big problems. But the question is, will that be Sony, will that be Microsoft, or will it be somebody else? Let's take a look at the facts.
Also, Ubisoft has this Ubisoft Plus thing that I have. It's for PC only, where you get all the DLC for every game they've ever made. You get all the games when they come out that are for PC, day one, with the highest, like, Ultimate Edition, Gold Edition, whatever they call it, version. I have it. It's really awesome. I've been playing a bunch of Ubisoft games on there. I also have all the other ones, EA and all that, Microsoft stuff. But the Ubisoft one is, I think, the best one, in my opinion, because you get all the DLC. You get the whole game. You get the complete versions of games, which I think is awesome. And it's only, like, I think $15 a month or something. But you get the full versions of the games versus, like, Game Pass, where you'd get the standard version of the game, and then the DLC you have to buy yourself if you want it. So I think that is a very pro-consumer thing. Plus, Ubisoft's customer support, I've had to deal with them with Riders Republic because I had that bug where when anyone who played like the like beta version of it, once they got into the real game and released the real game, there was like a progression bug. I had that. They fixed that like really easy. I didn't lose any progress. I just had to like start over. They basically just had to reset my account to where like I didn't do any of the races or anything, but I kept all my stars and stuff. So like their customer support is awesome. They're super nice. They're really fast. So like Ubisoft, I have no hard feelings for them because I've only had like good experiences with them. Now I do understand like their tactics with like microtransactions and stuff can be a little crappy like every other company. But anyways, let's keep going.
What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here. Now, please, if you could, like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's start things off by just taking a look at some of their recent releases to sort of put it.
So before, all right, sorry I'm pausing a lot. I want to just make some points before he starts spitting out bullshit. All right, so Extraction was not a good game. It was just like it was like a really bad like Left 4 Dead clone with some siege elements put into it. Mario's and Rabbids, amazing game. The first one, amazing game. I think it sold very well. I think this new one's gonna sell really well. I think it's awesome. This one, I think, has promise. The Avatar game, I think it does have promise. The Roller Champions, that's gonna probably be a hit or miss. It could be really good, it could be really bad. Just Dance sells amazingly every year. I think that is one of the huge successes of Ubisoft, and I think that game will just continue to sell forever. Riders Republic, in my opinion, huge success. I was playing it the other day. They basically, like, I could find a match in like 30 seconds. That game's nowhere near dead, and a lot of people play it. So, Far Cry 6, haven't played it, but it sold really well. Immortals Phoenix Rising, I think, is better than Breath of the Wild. That's my own opinion. I've played both, and Immortals Phoenix Rising is everything I wanted Breath of the Wild to be, plus more. And that's my opinion. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, number one selling Assassin's Creed of all time. Watch Dogs Legion, not a big Watch Dogs fans, but I believe this game did pretty well too. Hyperscape, we'll talk about that one later.
Into perspective, how deeply and financially in debt they are. Like, these are a couple of their recent games that they've spent, keep in mind, hundreds of millions of dollars developing. Rainbow Six Extraction utterly plummeted. Things like Riders Republic, most of you probably don't even realize this exists, but it was a snowboarding, biking, open world game. Pretty much nobody bought it. Far Cry 6
Yeah, no one bought it, meaning you, because you only care if it's a Sony property. Just because you and your dumb friends don't like a certain genre or don't try something out, don't mean that the game's dead or that, no one cares about it. Riders Republic is a huge success in my opinion.
Way under expectations. Stuff like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed were good, but not as successful as they needed. Ghost Recon Breakpoint completely sold like 4 copies, and all of them were returned. Like, even this, remember they made a gigantic, huge game freaking in 2020 called Hyperscape. They made their own Battle Royale. This was an incredibly expensive project. It failed so hard. It already...
Yeah, but see, the thing with Hyperscape is it didn't fail because it was a bad game. It failed because it was too hard for the common person to, like, get into. Like, Hyperscape as a game is leagues better than most of the shooters that are out right now. Hyperscape is amazing. It is actually, like, sad that Hyperscape died out when it did, because Hyperscape is better than Fortnite in my opinion. It's just that it was too hard for people to get into, and it ended up dying because it was too hard to get good at.
It has ceased to exist. They are completely cooked, and that's why over the weekend we got this strange thing where people inside of Kotaku are talking about the fact that the company is getting ready to put a price tag on itself. Yves Guillemot, the guy who used to actually work at the top of Ubisoft, is no longer at the company. He's not trying to battle off people trying to invade. They're no longer trying to basically stop all the workplace controversies. A lot of their senior devs are leaving. Big projects have been bombing. Nobody is there to save Ubisoft from being Ubisoft. Now, in the article itself, they're very clear that this...
Okay, so, like, in that segment, I can understand, like, a lot of these companies are having problems with in-work shenanigans and stuff, and hopefully they all get that figured out and stuff, because it's bad, but it happens in almost every business where there's some kind of shenanigans going on. But
this is a straight-up survival strategy. The idea behind this is the fact that they want to just continue for their games to exist. They're not doing this because they want this to be the most profitable path possible. It is just straight up that if they want Sam Fisher to ever go on another adventure, they need outside help. But here's what's interesting about this is that Ubisoft seems to be trying to claim that they are busy. They've been doing all these strange cryptic tweets pretending like they're not failing, saying, yes, we're working on a big tactical shooter, which is going to pretty much be ripping off Valorant. They're saying, yes, we're...
Okay, and even if they do rip off Valorant isn't original either. It's just a rip off of Overwatch and Paladins and every other arena, like, whatever you call those, MOBA arena shooter things, whatever they are. But Valorant's not really original either, so who cares? Every company rips off every other company. Fortnite wasn't original. Like, PUBG wasn't original. They all came from, other stuff. Like, none of those. There is no originality really in video games anymore.
We're going to start making games that are tinier, more focused, because bigger isn't always better. Now let's be clear here. The reason that's
Which that is actually true, because if you look at like the big games that have been doing super well the last like couple years, they've all been tiny, small, like indie projects. None of the really like. There's been a couple, like huge games that have done really well, like the new Souls, like the Souls games and stuff, which I don't even know if they're considered a AAA company or not. Like they might not be. I'm not sure. Are they? I don't know. But anyways, like there hasn't been like any huge, like big like wow games that have been killing it like every year. Most of like the big like AAA games have been shit on for the most part for being boring or not as good. Like I don't know. It's just something I've noticed. A lot of the smaller games are doing better.
Ubisoft is talking about their secret projects and claiming that
Oh yeah, because guess what? Graphics don't matter. You know what matters? Gameplay.
going to do better. It's complete lies. They're doing this because they're trying to pump up the value of the company. They're trying to basically get you to buy it for the biggest price tag possible. But who's going to pay that price? Now, Sony and Microsoft are both in very unique positions that are very, very separate. I still feel like Sony is trying to make the biggest AAA single-player experiences possible. They want to make games that are going to occupy you, that are going to make memes, that are going to get high review scores. Sony still seems to be in that.
Okay, yeah, that's true. When I always say like how I view like the game companies like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, I always say Sony is all about like single player, adventure games, and they're all about that. Like put all their money into like their property, like and making like the best single player game they can make. I'll give you that. Microsoft, I've always said, is more about the online experience. Like it's more about the third-party games. It's more about just the servers are better. The lobbies are usually better. It's more competitive. I feel like Microsoft's more in the competitive market with PC, and then Nintendo is more of your like family fun. Like party games. Couch co-op stuff, and that's kind of how I've always seen those three companies.
Mindset where just a couple big releases in a year is more profitable to them in the long run. They're trying to make sure that if they can just get like 5 or 6.
But even a lot of the I'm not gonna lie, some of the PlayStation games that have come out in the last couple of years have been snooze fests. Like some have been great, some have been bad. I don't think that everything PlayStation. This guy's just a huge PlayStation fanboy and thinks everything PlayStation's always great, no matter what. But I don't know. In reality, I think some of the PlayStation games were kind of overrated.
Real AAA bangers that are going to really stir up the hype, stir up console sales, and have a very high attach rate, meaning that everybody with a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5 buys it, they seem to be incredibly happy. But Ubisoft, it's such a weird idea of a deal. Ubisoft as a company is just filled with a lot of dead game franchises, and a lot of the developers are...
Yes, all these franchises are so dead. The only one on here, there's maybe a couple on here that are probably dead, which would be like, not because they're actually dead and no one cares about them, but because they haven't made anything in a while, is like maybe Prince of Persia and the Heroes series, maybe. I think, like, that's about it. Heroes, Mights and Magic. That's about, everything else though is going strong. They have a game every year, so if you make a game every year, I don't think that it's dead. I think that means that the game is selling enough for them to continue to make more games every year.
Working on stuff like Avatar games? Who the heck even cares about Avatar? Like,
a lot of people. I'm sure that game's gonna sell super well, especially if it's really, really good and well done.
I haven't even thought about one of these blue elves, and I don't even know how many years, and yet they're spending more humongous stacks of money to try and make that profitable. Whoever buys them is probably going to axe that immediately. If anything, I would think that Sony would probably just buy sections of it if it does end up failing. If the company completely gets liquidated, which is currently on the docket, I think that they would just try and buy a couple series from Ubisoft. Like Assassin's Creed, in my opinion, is a very freaking Sony-esque franchise. Assassin's Creed is something that could really appeal to those style of gamers, the people that.
Yeah, it is. Because Sony ripped off Assassin's Creed when they made their Horizon game. Horizon is literally just a ripoff of Assassin's Creed.
Are PlayStation people. Whereas Microsoft, I feel like does probably want to buy them because they love having a huge catalog. Let's keep in mind that Game Pass does continue to grow exponentially, where straight up there is more people playing it, there's more games on it, there's just more reasons to play Game Pass. And so if Microsoft did scoop.
Whoa, did he just like talk about Xbox in a somewhat positive way? That's rare. Usually he's always trying to trash Xbox and say how bad they are.
Up and buy it, from a fan perspective, I do feel like that would be a very big win for them. The reason I personally do not believe at all that Microsoft is going to buy Ubisoft is just because they're still stuck in the middle of that Activision deal, which is just so incredibly sloppy.
Well, yeah, if they got Activision and Ubisoft, it would be a complete monopoly, and there would be no doubt that they would get shut down for like instantly.
I actually tweeted this out, and some people got incredibly mad at me for it, but I said, chill with all the Microsoft is buying Ubisoft talk. Xbox still hasn't closed the Activision deal. Let them figure that out before eating anyone else up. Now, even actually just about 30 minutes before I started filming this video, Activision Blizzard has announced that they're going to try and finish the Microsoft deal on June 30th, 2023. So about a year and 1 month. So like 13 months from today. Now, that's interesting, but it does sort of signal the fact that each of these acquisitions for Microsoft is going to become bigger and more complicated to do. The United States government at this point is watching a very, very close laser beam focused eye on Microsoft to make sure that Xbox does not create a monopoly. And in my opinion, even though I do kind of hate Ubisoft, I do think that Ubisoft, with all their stupid freaking NFTs and garbage games, I think they've gone downhill. But it could be a very profitable acquisition for Microsoft. It just feels like Team Xbox is a better spot for something like Ubisoft because it has so many different brands underneath a single umbrella. So being able to take them all and put them all on Game Pass, the entire back catalog of Ubisoft and new stuff, that would probably...
Okay, so I believe that a lot of what he was saying is somewhat true for the most part. Like, Ubisoft does seem to make more sense on Microsoft's Game Pass and all that, but again, though, I don't think they would allow it. I think that it would be a huge monopoly if they got Ubisoft and Activision both on there with Bethesda and pretty much EA.
Would be a lot more profitable for Microsoft, but legally, I just don't know if they can buy it for a bit. I don't think Microsoft could even begin talks of an acquisition of anybody for at least the next 13 months, just because this deal is already so complicated, it's so weird. I just think that they're having to tap the brakes and make sure this gets finished before they start buying anybody else. Now, I think it's probably going to be Tencent. I do not like Tencent. Tencent is, again, a very evil company. They're a big Chinese super conglomerates, but what people forget is that they've been buying up pretty much everybody with a price tag. All these different studios, small, big, they're trying to buy up everybody because, honestly, it's easy money for them. Right now, Tencent is just in a spot where they don't really make games, they take profit from games. They scoop up on people that are already working on projects, they buy it, they take the money, and they run. In fact, even just glancing, this is obviously Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the most accurate, but it straight up says here, this is currently the largest video game industry.
Okay, so this one does make sense in a way. Like, if someone were to buy Ubisoft, like, I think Tencent probably would be the ones to make an offer. But I don't see Ubisoft struggling. I don't see them, like, I don't think they need to do that right now. I think a lot of their releases in the last year have been really good. So I'm gonna try to play the rest of this video out. I'm sorry I haven't been talking a lot more, but this part's kind of like boring and there's nothing really to commentate on except for, you know, what he's saying, you know.
In the world. These people are huge because what they do is they invest. Instead of trying to make games directly, they buy people and have them finish it, which is a very smart idea because it does give people creative freedom, but Tencent is very invasive. But look at this, right here over on the side, it says that last year, just last year, they made freaking 86 billion US dollars. In just 2021, they made that close to $100 billion. Like, even if you hate this company, like I believe you probably should, we have to understand that this amount of money is something people cannot say no to. Ubisoft is struggling. Ubisoft, it does seem like a lot of the executives, a lot of the developers still care about their projects, and even if they are going to be broken apart and sold off piece by piece, they care about the art. They still want these brands, these characters, these universes to continue to exist. And if Tencent comes with a paycheck, they're probably going to take it. I mean, I like that term, will you sell your soul to the devil? Because sometimes that is what it comes down to. It is one of those things where you think, all right, what is it going to take to continue to work on the projects I want? And Tencent may be that path. It's difficult to tell who's really going to do it. It's difficult to tell who's really going to do it, but these have just been my own personal thoughts on the...
Yeah, so basically, I think he's pretty much done talking about it now. I wanted to try to get the whole video in, but he's not talking about anything. He's just like talking in circles at this point to hit his 10-minute mark, which, I mean, I'm probably way past now, but I didn't really care for that. I just wanted to talk and like kind of get like some real, actual like opinion on this video and Ubisoft as a whole, because I don't think Ubisoft's going anywhere anytime soon. I think they're doing just fine. But anyways, if you like this type of video, let me know. I should have just stopped it a little earlier because like he wasn't really talking about anything that was important. But anyways, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment what your thoughts on it is, and if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. Bye.